The moment you stop being available to everyone, something powerful begins to happen. People who once ignored you start noticing you. Situations that drained you begin to fade away. And suddenly, life feels lighter, clearer, and more in your control. Carl Jung believed that constant availability is not kindness, it is often unconscious self-betrayal. Most people make themselves endlessly accessible because they fear rejection, loneliness, or being misunderstood. They answer every call, solve everyone's problems, and sacrifice their own needs, hoping to feel valued. But Jung warned that when you give yourself away without boundaries, you slowly lose your identity. The psyche begins to feel empty. According to Jung, when you are always available, you teach others how to treat you, and more importantly, you teach your unconscious that your needs don't matter. This creates resentment, exhaustion, and inner conflict. But when you finally stop being available, not in anger, but in self-respect, the entire dynamic shifts. People feel the change instantly. Jung explained that humans unconsciously respond to energy and boundaries more than words. When you are always there, your presence becomes expected. When you create space, your presence becomes valued. Availability without limits removes mystery, respect, and psychological balance. But distance, healthy distance, restores it. This doesn't mean becoming cold or selfish. It means becoming conscious. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires separating from unconscious patterns of pleasing and overgiving. Many people stay trapped in roles they never chose: the helper, the listener, the fixer, the one who is always there. These roles feel safe, but they slowly drain the soul. When you stop being constantly available, you give yourself permission to exist beyond those roles. And that's when everything changes. Some people will resist it. Some will guilt you. Some may even leave. Jung would say this is not loss, it is alignment. Those who only valued your availability were never truly connected to you. They were connected to what you provided. When you step back, you filter relationships naturally. What remains becomes real. Another powerful shift happens internally. When you stop giving your energy everywhere, it begins to return to you. You think clearer. You feel calmer. You make better decisions. Jung believed energy is the currency of the psyche. Where you spend it determines your mental and emotional health. Constant availability scatters your energy. Boundaries concentrate it. And concentrated energy creates confidence. This is why people often become more attractive, emotionally, socially, and even professionally, when they stop being overly accessible. Not because they play games, but because they finally respect their own time and worth. Jung taught that unconscious people seek those with weak boundaries because it feels familiar and comfortable. Conscious people are drawn to those who respect themselves. When you stop being available, you move from unconscious dynamics into conscious ones. You stop being used. You start being chosen. There's also a deep psychological reason why everything improves. When you are always available, you live in reaction mode, responding to others' needs constantly. But when you create space, you begin living intentionally. Your life becomes yours again. Jung believed that most anxiety comes from living a life that is not aligned with the self. Overavailability is one of the biggest causes of this misalignment. You say yes when you mean no. You show up when you're exhausted. You listen when you need silence. And the unconscious rebels through stress, burnout, and emotional pain. But the moment you honor your limits, the psyche relaxes. Peace begins. Another powerful effect is how others change. Some people step up and respect you more. Some reveal their true intentions. Some disappear. All of it is clarity. Jung believed clarity is always a gift, even when it feels uncomfortable. When you stop being available, you stop allowing unconscious relationships to continue. You make room for conscious ones. And perhaps the biggest transformation is how you see yourself. You no longer define your worth by how much you give. You no longer seek validation through sacrifice. You begin to value your presence, not just your service. This is psychological maturity. Jung would say this is the soul reclaiming itself. Because boundaries are not walls. They are doors that decide what deserves entry. When you stop being available to everything, you become available to what truly matters: your growth, your peace, your purpose. And that is when life quietly begins to change in ways you never expected. Not through force. Not through conflict. But through self-respect. When life begins to change after you stop being available, it doesn't happen loudly. It happens in subtle psychological shifts that slowly reshape your reality. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious always seeks balance. When you have spent years giving more than you receive, tolerating more than you should, and placing others before yourself, the psyche quietly keeps score. Not in anger, but in exhaustion. And once you finally pull your energy back, balance starts restoring itself naturally. One of the first changes is how you experience time. When you were always available, your time belonged to everyone else. Their problems became your schedule. Their emotions became your responsibility. Your own goals were pushed to the side. But when you create boundaries, time becomes spacious again. You begin to think about what you want. You start noticing what drains you. You become intentional with your energy. Jung believed this return of inner authority is essential for psychological health. Without it, a person lives fragmented, pulled in multiple directions by unconscious obligations. Another transformation happens in how people communicate with you. Before, people reached out whenever it was convenient for them. Now, they become more mindful. Messages become respectful. Requests become thoughtful. Not because you demanded it, but because your energy changed. Jung explained that the unconscious reads boundaries as self-worth. When you respect your time, others sense it instinctively. This is why people who suddenly create space often experience an increase in respect without saying a word. The psyche responds to structure. And boundaries create psychological structure. But not everyone responds positively. Some people feel threatened when you stop being available. Why? Because your availability once supported their comfort, their dependency, or their control. Jung believed that unconscious relationships are built on roles, not authentic connection. One person gives, the other takes. One listens, the other unloads. One sacrifices, the other benefits. When you step out of the role, the entire dynamic collapses. And collapse reveals truth. Those who truly care will adjust. Those who only benefited will resist. This can feel painful at first. You may question yourself. You may wonder if you're being selfish. But Jung would say this discomfort is the ego adjusting to a healthier reality. Growth always feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Another deep shift happens inside your mind. Over time, you notice less anxiety. Why? Because much of your stress came from constantly reacting, answering, fixing, helping, explaining. Your nervous system was always on alert. When you stop being available, the mind finally rests. Jung believed many people confuse exhaustion with responsibility. They think being tired all the time is normal. But it is often a sign of emotional overextension. As boundaries form, your body relaxes. Your sleep improves. Your thoughts slow down. Your emotions stabilize. This is not coincidence. This is the psyche healing. You also begin to recognize patterns you never saw before. You notice who only contacts you when they need something. You see which relationships feel heavy and which feel nourishing. You understand which situations consistently drain your energy. Awareness sharpens. Jung believed consciousness grows when unconscious patterns are interrupted. Stopping availability interrupts the pattern of self-sacrifice. And once interrupted, clarity appears. With clarity comes choice. Now you can choose where to invest yourself rather than being pulled everywhere. This is the birth of self-respect. Another powerful outcome is how you begin showing up in the world. Instead of constantly accommodating others, you start expressing yourself honestly. You say no when something doesn't align. You speak when something feels wrong. You leave situations that feel unhealthy. Jung believed authenticity is the foundation of a meaningful life. Without it, the soul slowly suffocates under false roles. When you stop being available to everything, you finally make room for authenticity. And authenticity attracts healthier connections. People who respect your boundaries often share similar emotional maturity. Conversations become deeper. Relationships become more balanced. There is less drama and more understanding. This is because conscious relationships are built on mutual respect, not constant sacrifice. Jung said that unconscious people seek comfort, while conscious people seek truth. When you shift into conscious living, your environment gradually changes to match that level. Another internal transformation is confidence. Not loud confidence. Quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need approval. The kind that feels steady. This happens because you are no longer abandoning yourself for others. Each time you honor your needs, your subconscious registers safety. And when the subconscious feels safe, self-trust grows. Jung believed self-trust is the foundation of psychological strength. Without it, people seek validation externally. With it, they become grounded. This is why people often appear more powerful after creating boundaries, not because they dominate, but because they are centered. There's also a spiritual dimension to this shift. When your energy is no longer scattered, you feel more connected to yourself. Your intuition becomes clearer. Your creativity increases. Your sense of purpose strengthens. Jung believed that the soul needs space to speak. Constant availability drowns out that inner voice. Silence invites it back. In that silence, you begin hearing what truly matters to you. You discover desires that were buried. Dreams that were postponed. Goals that were ignored. This is not selfishness. This is self-realization. And self-realization, Jung said, is the purpose of life. Some people will accuse you of changing. They may say you are distant. They may say you are not the same anymore. And they're right. You are no longer operating unconsciously. You are becoming whole. Jung believed that becoming whole often means becoming different from who you were when you were trying to please everyone. The old version of you existed to survive. The new version exists to live. As this transformation continues, you may notice fewer people in your life, but deeper connections. Less chaos, but more peace. Less exhaustion, but more energy. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. When you stop being available to what drains you, life becomes available to what fulfills you. And slowly, you realize something profound. You were never meant to carry everyone. You were never meant to fix everything. You were meant to live fully, consciously, and authentically. Carl Jung believed that boundaries are not acts of separation. They are acts of self-creation. Each boundary shapes the life you are meant to live. When you stop being available to everything, you finally become available to yourself. And when you become available to yourself, everything begins to change, not because the world shifts, but because you do. Your relationships align. Your energy returns. Your peace grows. And this quiet transformation becomes the foundation of a life lived in truth. Not louder. Not harder. But deeper. Stronger. Free. If this message resonated with you, take a moment and reflect on your own boundaries. Being constantly available doesn't make you more loving, it often makes you invisible to yourself. As Carl Jung showed us, real growth begins when you stop living unconsciously for others and start honoring your own energy and worth. If you found value in this insight, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more deep psychology and spiritual wisdom. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Sometimes, the smallest shift, like choosing yourself, changes everything.